Today, we're diving into a rivalry that's almost as old as America itself, a classic David versus Goliath. A tale of two states locked in a bitter feud over one of the most iconic symbols in the world. I'm talking about the Great Debate. Does the Statue of Liberty belong to New York or New Jersey? Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course it's in New York. It's on every postcard, every movie scene of the Big Apple. The official address is Liberty Island, New York, NY 004. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast. The story is way more complicated and way more interesting than a simple zip code. To really get to the bottom of this, we need to rewind the clock way back to the 1600s. Picture this. It's 1664. King Charles II of England grants a massive chunk of land to his brother, James, the Duke of York. This land becomes, you guessed it, the province of New York. But James, being a generous guy, decides to give a piece of his new territory to two of his loyal friends, Sir George Carteret and Lord John Berkeley. He grants them the land lying and being to the westward of Long Island and Manhattan Island. That land would become New Jersey. Now, pay close attention to that wording, to the westward of Long Island and Manhattan Island. The grant also specified that the eastern border of New Jersey was the Hudson River and the Atlantic Ocean. This is where our whole drama begins. What about the islands in the Hudson River? The grant didn't explicitly say. New York, naturally, assumed all the islands, including the little oyster-covered patch that would one day be called Liberty Island, were theirs. New Jersey disagreed, arguing their territory extended out into the middle of the river. For the next 2 centuries, this ambiguity simmered. It wasn't just about bragging rights, it was about valuable shipping lanes, fishing rights, and control over commerce. The tension finally boiled over in the early 1800s. New York started arresting New Jersey fishermen in the waters around Staten Island. New Jersey retaliated. It was a mess. Things got so heated that both states actually called up their militias. Imagine that, a potential armed conflict between New York and New Jersey over some water and a few small islands. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed before any shots were fired. The two states realized a full-blown war wasn't the answer and decided to negotiate. This led to the Interstate Compact of 1834. This was a landmark agreement meant to settle the border dispute once and for all. It was a compromise, and like any good compromise, it was a little weird. Here's the deal they struck. The official border between the two states would be the middle of the Hudson River. Simple enough. But, and this is a huge but, the treaty included a special clause. It stated that all the islands in the river, even those on the New Jersey side of the new boundary line, would remain the territory of New York. This included Bedloe's Island, which we now know as Liberty Island, and Ellis Island. So, New York got to keep the islands as sovereign territory. But in return, New Jersey got something very important: riparian rights. This is a legal term for the right to use the water and the land underneath it. The treaty gave New Jersey jurisdiction over the waters and submerged land surrounding the islands, all the way up to the low water mark of the islands themselves. Think of it like this. Imagine your neighbor owns a swimming pool, but you own all the water in it and the land under it. They own the pool deck, but you control everything else. That's essentially the deal that was struck. New York owned the dry land of Liberty Island, but New Jersey owned the water and the seabed all around it. For about 50 years, this strange arrangement worked well enough. The islands weren't that important, and life went on. Then, in 1886, everything changed. A giant green copper statue, a gift from the people of France, was erected on Bedloe's Island. Suddenly, this obscure piece of New York territory sitting in New Jersey waters became the most famous landmark in the country, the Statue of Liberty. And with her arrival, the old rivalry flared up again. For decades, the debate was mostly a matter of state pride. New Jersey politicians would occasionally make noise about their claim, pointing out that geographically, Lady Liberty is clearly in their backyard. If you look at a map, Liberty Island is only about 2,000 feet from Jersey City, but it's over 2 miles from Manhattan. Tourists who take the ferry from Liberty State Park in New Jersey often assume they are still in the Garden State when they step onto the island. But New York always had the 1834 treaty and that New York zip code to fall back on. The federal government, which manages the Statue of Liberty as a national monument, has always recognized the island as part of New York. It seemed like the matter was settled, a quirky footnote in American history. But then came the 1980s, and the fight moved from the State House to the courthouse. This time, the battle wasn't over Liberty Island itself, but its neighbor, Ellis Island. As Ellis Island was being developed and restored, a new question arose. What about the new land? Over the years, Ellis Island had been expanded significantly using landfill. The original island was only about 3 acres, but by the 1980s, it was over 27 acres. New Jersey sued New York, making a brilliant legal argument. They said, "Okay, New York, we'll give you the original, natural part of the island based on the 1834 treaty. But all that new land, the landfill that was added later, that's built on our submerged land, in our waters, so that part of the island belongs to us." The case went all the way to the Supreme Court, and in 1998, in a landmark decision, the court sided with New Jersey. They ruled that the original 3 acres of Ellis Island belonged to New York, but the 24 acres of landfill created after the 1834 treaty belonged to New Jersey. This created the bizarre situation where Ellis Island is now territory of 2 different states if you walk through the main immigration hall. You're in New York. Step into the baggage and dormitory wing, and you crossed into New Jersey. There's even a dotted line on the floor in some places to mark the border. So, how does this affect the Statue of Liberty? Well, it doesn't directly. Liberty Island was never expanded with landfill the way Ellis Island was. The entire landmass of Liberty Island is the original, natural island that was granted to New York in the 1834 treaty. So, legally and officially, the dry land of Liberty Island is 100% part of New York. But that's not the end of the story. Remember those riparian rights? New Jersey still has jurisdiction over the water and the land under the waters surrounding the island. This means if you fall off the seawall of Liberty Island, you land in New Jersey. The pier where the ferries dock is in New Jersey. All the utilities, the power, and water that serve the statue run through New Jersey territory. This has led to some fascinating and sometimes funny consequences. For example, when the state of New Jersey tried to change its sales tax, there was a question of which tax rate should apply to souvenirs sold on Liberty Island. And when there's a crime committed in the waters around the island, it's New Jersey law that applies. So, who really owns the Statue of Liberty? The answer, unsatisfying as it may be, is it's complicated. New York owns the land she stands on. There's no legal ambiguity there. The island itself is sovereign New York territory, but she is completely surrounded by New Jersey. Her life support systems run through New Jersey. She sits in New Jersey's waters, looking out over a harbor that both states share. You could say New York has custody of the body, but New Jersey has custody of the space around her. Geographically, she's in New Jersey. Politically, she's in New York. And symbolically? Well, symbolically, she doesn't belong to either state. She belongs to all of us. She's a symbol of freedom and hope for the entire United States and for people all over the world. The fight over her home is a perfect, quirky, and quintessentially American story. It's a testament to our nation's history, a complex tale of colonial grants, interstate rivalries, and legal battles that continue to this day. So next time someone asks you where the Statue of Liberty is, you can tell them it's in New York. But then you can add, with a little smile, but it's a long story. Thanks for sticking with me through that deep dive. What do you think? Team New York or Team New Jersey? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this little slice of history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories you thought you knew. See you